Hi there, this is Mike of Nearly Enough Dice. This is the Kerbal Space Program. I have a contract to test the Weasley. What is this Wheezy? Jet engine. Weasley. And I saw a thing that somebody had made, which is basically a hovercraft using jet engines, and I thought that might be a good idea. Jet engines tend to have, well, you can get more out of them. They have a lower thrust, I think, but it's a much higher ISP. So that's me got the contract. So that's, in a sense, that's all I needed to do. But I'm gonna see if I can hover. Clearly thinking. There we go. Well, looks like I'm going to have some difficulty. Yeah. Should have put some parachutes on it, I think. Because I'm going to have quite a lot of difficulty manually balancing the. Let's put. I'm going to have a lot of difficulty manually balancing the amount of thrust. So I don't have KOS at the minute, so I can't use its capabilities. Seems unstable for some reason. Also, jets I think take longer to spool up and spool down than rockets do. So they tend to change. It takes longer to change speed. I think I might be better off arranging to splash down than doing anything particularly intelligent or clever, like trying to land. Should have put a flight computer on this now, I think about it. Okay, I'm now descending at a reasonable rate, so I'm just gonna stick with this. So I'm gonna land not too badly. Oh no, actually going up. Do you notice how little fuel I've used? If I was doing this in a rocket hoverbox, oh, it might be going down too fast, might be going down too fast. Oops. Oh well. That's an interesting experiment that I'm going to have to do again when I get KOS installed. But, okay, recover vessel. I'm probably going to crash because I've seen some indications that the game's being a bit unstable. Right? But we'll see. No, looks like we survived it. And I didn't spend very much money, and I actually got some money out of that. So there you go. On to others. Hello, this is Mike of Nearly Enough Dice, and this is the Kerbal Space Program. And we're live. It's actually working for once. I've been having a bit of a time. We're just getting a blank screen, no matter what you do. Right, so I got stuff in the teeth. Okay, what are we doing? Well, I've been asked to do more interesting names, so I'm now going to create the Tin Parrot. My previous craftsman said it was a Tin Pelican, but I forgot to actually tell anyone that. What are we doing? We're going to go for one of these. No, we're not, because we've already got one of those. Right. Completely forgotten what I'm doing. This is going to be my new space taxi. At least that is the plan. Where is this cat? And we'll just chuck her. Oop. What was I going to do? I was going to stick a parachute on this, that's what I was going to do. And aerodynamics. There we go. I just have to remember to fire the fairings before I fire my rockets. So before I fire my parachute. So that's my hitchhiker container. We're going to slap parachutes all over that. And they are in fact going to go into their own little thing. Somehow, something about the way this dragging things in staging is really inconvenient. I don't know what it is, but you, move. Right. So I'm gonna. The idea is to pop the first parachute, this one. So I want to try and get that test contract. So long as I'm below 8,000 and I'm going pretty much any speed, I think, if I remember correctly, that'll pop, and then I'll get that test, and then I can pop the other parachute. So this is basically here to try and have a less ridiculous profile, because the previous one just had that right on top of this. So you get, I was just flying this flat wedge. It'd be kind of nice if I could do something in here, because this is just a big lump. I can't put things inside it. It'd be quite nice if I could put a thing inside it. But never mind. Okay, so I would quite like to take some people orbital. That'll be quite nice and see. So, what are we going to do next? What we're going to do next is we're going to chuck a Rockomax adapter underneath. And I now have great big huge Rockomax fuel tanks, which are these babies. I actually feel I'm going to need at least this much. And I have big Rockomax engines, including got a Poodle. Now the Poodle, that's going to be I'm you know, this is the attempt is to make some kind of orbital stage. So that's what the poodle's going to be for. So we're going to have another whacking great big Rocamax thingy under that. Let's see how many of these tanks I'm going to need. 2 great big tanks. I do have to keep a check on my parts list. Is that alright? Tonnage I'm probably okay with. I'm complaining about the lack of... I'm not using my liquid fuel at the minute, which is true. But I now have the skipper. Right, now allegedly that should be enough. That should be 5,000 delta V. That should be way more than enough. So let's grab these winglets, chuck them on. So there are a few questions, obviously, like, can I actually launch this? Thrust to weight ratio looks fine. Parts count is fine. I can actually chuck a whole bunch more parts on. This is not a very complicated rocket. Okay, so who wants to go suborbital? You want to go suborbital. You're what? Valchel. Now these next two, Newis and Raiden, they want to go orbital. Now, what I want to do. So the rest is one. The rest of the 6 lot. They're the mad ones who want to go to the moon. They want to go suborbital on Kerbal, orbit around the moon, fly by the moon. I don't think I've got enough for that. Although I could probably make something that will do that. The biggest trick is going to be getting this. Getting the suborbital, but I think that means just getting a crashing trajectory briefly, and then pulling out and not crashing. But in theory, according to the numbers, this should get me into orbit and back. Right, let's check my staging. Bottom. And that one. And then that's for coming home. Pop the fairing. I might as well just do that when I'm in orbit. But, and then coming down, I use that parachute at about 8,000, and then I pop all the other parachutes. So theoretically, the Tin Parrot should be ready to rock and roll. Well, it may well roll. Whether it's going to rock is another interesting question. In fact, I would rather it didn't rock or roll. I would rather it went in the direction I told it to go into, which is interesting. There you go. Alrighty then. I should probably put some launch stabilizers on it because it's just frankly ridiculous that it's staying upright. So anyway, I'm going to put some launch stabilizers on it. I had to say it. I had to say it out loud. That's what would have happened. Oh God. Okay, that's what would have happened if that had been a simulation. And clearly that was a simulation because that's not the ship we're going with. No. I have made sure that I've got solar panels and indeed a flight computer. And solar panels, and then there's a battery underneath there. I've added the these things, launch stability enhancer, and yeah, we're going to see how this goes. So let's launch this. Okay, focus Tin Parrot. SAS. SAS on. Throttle to maximum. Get rid of what I want to get rid of. Thrust to weight ratio surface. What? Possibly my thrust to weight ratio is very low because I've not actually got my engine on at the minute. It's actually not staged, so that might be it. All right, let's. Why is my thrust to weight ratio so low? I'm sure it wasn't that low when I was in the VAB. Well, I'm going up, that's the main thing. And my thrust to weight ratio is rapidly getting higher. Right, so I'm not going to try and turn at any point until about 50 meters per second. Alright, so it starts. The SAS seems very prone to overcorrection. So you do end up with this kind of wobbling. And I'm going off axis again. I wonder if yeah, I think so. I think what I might want to need to do is turn off these fins. I might want to make it so that these fins don't work when I'm trying to go when I'm changing my yaw. So can I just turn off? Now the problem is, have I then? Yes, I turned off the yaw for all of them. So alright, so I can't actually do it. I might have been able to do this in the VAB, but instead of adding them with fourfold symmetry, I added them in two pairs of two. And so one set of fins only does stuff on pitch, and one set only does stuff on yaw. Because at the moment they're both going, which means that when I try and do pitch correction, yaw corrections, it's also doing pitch correction, which is why I'm ending up off axis a lot. At least that's what I think is going on. Very cautious, like I don't go too far beyond what the prograde marker is letting me do. Because if I do, that's when I get particularly unstable. What I would not give to be able to see the map view and this view at the same time. That would be a neat thing. Probably very difficult to capture for you know, this kind of streaming I'm doing. But oh, it would be handy. You know, maybe a little window that just shows me that. That'd be neat. Very delicately juggling my ascent profile. I think I'm going quite fast. I'm going to throttle down a little bit. so a nice shallow, stable, more or less in the right plane. I'm about to separate the first stage. Let that get away. Now we're on the second stage. Now this is only my poodle, so my thrust to work ratio isn't enormous, but I'm high enough above the atmosphere that shouldn't be a problem. So I'm just going to throttle back up. And it's now taking me to the orbital nav ball, which is good. I'm going to deploy the fairings, just so everything's out in the open. But we're high up enough that that shouldn't be that's not going to be shouldn't be an aerodynamic problem. My time to upper absence is getting quite high, nearly 2 minutes, which means I'm probably going to have a very flat orbital profile. Right, my upper absence height is now over well over, in this case over 80. So I'm now suborbital. But I don't think any of the, that's not going to count until we get back, I think. Whoa, 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 why are we tumbling? Why are we tumbling? Why are we tumbling? What's going on? Why are we tumbling? Why are we tumbling? We weren't tumbling before. Why are we tumbling now? Stop tumbling. This is very bad behavior and you should stop it. This is bad. Have I had electricity or anything? No. No, but the game's crashed. Hell. Okay. We're back to where we were, more or less were before the crash. My ascent profile isn't quite as good, but never mind. I am tumbling, and I suspect it's because that the reaction wheels on the... let's just deploy that, actually. The reaction wheels on this thing aren't actually good enough. Now what I'm hoping is that what part of the tumbling was the residual effects of being in the atmosphere. And if need be, I can just use the engine. The engine gives me control because I can gimbal the engine. Yeah, I'm slowing down my speed by a tiny bit. Oh no, I do have the tiniest amount of control. So, reaction wheels. Yeah, that gives me so much more control doing it that way. Okay, so if I go apoapsis, point towards my prograde, that should raise my periapsis height. So I should get something resembling an orbit. Let's see if I can. In theory, if you can. Right, that's not what I want. In theory, if you make sure you've got a horizontal velocity, a vertical velocity of 0, vertical speed of 0, then you know that you're going to be getting a flat orbit, but that's not something I'm capable of doing, apparently. I don't want my apoapsis to change too much, but there we go. We are now in orbit. Right, so 5 people are happy. Suborbital complete. Suborbital complete. Suborbital complete. Orbit. 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 So they're all now very happy. Now all I need to do is to get them home without killing them. And I could do something clever, like you know, try and land near the KSC, but I don't care. So I'm very slowly and very laboriously turning myself to point retrograde. So I'm going to try not to do anything fancy. I just want to lower my periapsis to the extent that it's about. Come on. That's a bit much. Come on, come on, come on. Still going around. Yeah, I'm just going to lower my periapsis so it's about. I'm going to go for 40k. I really wish I'd put reaction wheels on this thing. Right, that'll do. So I'm going to aim for 40. And we're going to see what happens. So I can in fact just physics ahead. Well, not physics specifically, I can time warp ahead. Because as soon as I hit the atmosphere... Oh wow, I'm just tumbling. It'll untime warp me. What are we doing for electricity denial? So, you know, I'm now back into time warp 1 because we're back in the atmosphere. I would like to continue to point retrograde for various reasons. One is that my speed is quite high, and I've got a fair amount of fuel left. So if I can slow my speed down, now I cannot see anything, because of course when anything interesting happens, it happens on the night side, where I can't see anything. Still got plenty of electricity. So I'd like to stop as much of my speed now as I can. There we go. There's conveniently there is a nice Milky Way for you to silhouette yourself against, even when you've completely run out of sunlight, so you can't actually see what you're doing. And I wonder if there's a particularly good time to kill your speed. The O-berth effect is the faster you're going, the more efficient your use of fuel. So probably now, to be perfectly honest. Right, what's that done to my... Okay, so obviously gravity is still going to have a bit of a say in what happens. I don't want to it's all about timing at this stage. Right, so let's let things go for let's let things go for a little bit longer. So I'm increasing my speed somewhat because gravity and all that. If and when I start heating up, that's when I want to start. Oh, okay, right. Right, so we're going to wait until that calms down, because that seems to mostly be less to do with heating and more to do with speed of sound. So getting rid of that, bouncing off it a little bit. Now, yeah, so now basically it's waiting for hitting 8,000 feet for the parachute trial. 8,000 feet, 8,000 meters. I didn't seem to get that. Wonder if I wasn't traveling fast enough. That's the static Kerbal. Where is it? Where is that? Where is that mission? I'm sure I had a mission that said test. Slightly worried that something found the ability to explode near me. I wonder if... Oh, that's interesting. I wonder if I've like let that experiment expire or something. It's nighttime. Where am I coming down? Still nighttime. It's nighttime everywhere. So I don't know, in fact. I think that looks like ocean, which is probably a good thing. Well, maybe it's possible that the experiment to test that parachute has expired. Oh no, this looks like land. I desperately hope the parachute is going to be good enough to slow me down. Oh, looks like. Okay, cool. Well, okay, what with the game crashing and various other things, looks like I have actually succeeded. Whew. Mission time of what? 22 minutes? Or is that hours? I'm not sure. Oakley dokley. Picking a pokerly. So with a bit of effort, I'm going to stick it. I'm going to have to glue a whole bunch of bits of video together to make this into a thing, because I had a bunch of crashes and the game deciding not to my recorder deciding not to record and various other things. I could have sworn I had an M16 parachute test. Well, I wonder if that's disappeared somewhere. Can you get a crew call? Okay, doesn't help very much. Actually, where are we? Grasslands. Grasslands. Grasslands are dull. We should put lights on the. I wish I'd done a bunch of things actually. I do hope I can get enough money soon to upgrade my VAB, so I can just put more parts on things. A 30 part limit is actually quite hard. It's easier now that I've got big fuel tanks and big rockets and things. Well, I guess we're down then. Hooray and hurrah. Can you get from here? It'd be funny if people could. Nah. Alrighty. Let's recover the vessel. See what happens. Does the game survive? Does it crash again? We live! Okay, so we got science, somewhat to my surprise. Yeah, in total, so we got 1.4 grand back, which is not very much considering how much we actually spent getting on the stage. But I now have a bunch of level 1 tourists. What do you do with a level 1 tourist? Level 1 pilot, though, I'm quite pleased with. I do want that. I do want him. But so I get a whole bunch of travel itinerary. So that's 19. 1, 2, 3. 2 times 19. Yeah, I got some money out of that. Yeah, so I'll have made a profit off of that. I should have paid some attention to how much money I had. Those are the launch stabilizers. There you go. I got just a bit more extra money cash. So there you go. Now I'm going to have to go away and I'm going to stick a whole bunch of things together as the sun sets slowly over the Kerbal Space Center. I'm going to say thanks very much for watching. Please hit like and subscribe if you're enjoying these videos. Share them. Tell people about them. Make your relatives watch them. Just kind of duct tape some chairs and make them. Don't do that. That's bad. You can find Nearly Enough Dice, which is a role-playing game podcast on blog at nearlyenoughdice.com, and you can also search for us on Twitter and on Facebook if you want to come along there. And until next time.